Hello and welcome to Kaely Daily. Today's question is, where is my placenta and will it move during pregnancy?
This is Kaely Daily, the bi-weekly podcast about all things doula tips and tits, where we answer one question about pregnancy, labor, postpartum, or lactation in order to have your journey in this parenting world be just a little bit more informed and filled with consent.
Welcome back. I'm Kaely Harrod, the host of Kaely Daily Doula Tips and Tits. And today we're continuing on our theme of the placenta. So I have two questions today. One is, where is my placenta located? And the second is, will my placenta move? So the placenta itself is stationary in the uterus. However, one analogy I like to use is if you had a balloon that was just a little bit aired up, like let's say it was the size of your fist, and then you marked an X on it anywhere, right? And then you blew it up more, then where that X is on the balloon is going to move, right? So that is similar to the placenta. It implants somewhere in the uterine wall. And then as the uterus gets larger, as the fetus grows and your pregnancy progresses, then where it's located in the uterus shifts because that part of the uterus actually moves, right? It actually grows, changes position as it fills up. So lots of placentas are at the top and the back of the uterus. But there are placentas that are low-lying. There's placenta previa, where the placenta is covering the cervix opening itself. There's an anterior placenta where the placenta is in the front of the uterus, kind of like behind your belly button, for instance. And so placenta placement can be all over the uterus. Now, usually, placenta placement is not a complication for vaginal delivery. However, in the case of placenta previa, then the placenta has to be enough away from the cervix that the cervix can fully dilate, allowing the baby to come through and be born, right? So complete previa is when a placenta is completely covering the cervix. Partial previa is where part of the cervix is covered, and a low-lying placenta is a placenta that's near the cervix but not covering the cervix. So one of the things that they do in a situation of partial or near, like low-lying placenta, is measure the distance from the edge of the cervix to the placenta. And there's a threshold that has to get to. And if it gets far enough from the cervix, then the cervix is able to fully dilate and birth is safe. The reason that it's not safe to have a labor with a placenta that's too near the cervix is that, in part, it can detach partially and cause bleeding, which is dangerous. And also because, of course, the cervix cannot open underneath the placenta or if the placenta is there. And so that makes vaginal delivery unsafe and also not possible. Now, does placenta location matter? I guess I'm adding some questions onto this. Placenta location in general doesn't matter too much aside from those like low-lying previa positions. However, in my experience, an anterior placenta, so a placenta that's in the front of the uterus, does create more issues in terms of baby positioning for some people. That is not always true. It's not like, a guarantee that you're going to have issues with positioning, but I see that anterior placenta sometimes create a baby that is in a posterior situation, a bit posterior position, because there's just not the space that you would otherwise have in the front of the uterus. It of course depends on where exactly it is. But yeah, that's my own anecdotal experience. So So we're going to have a few more episodes on placentas. I want to remind you that I have a brand new free guide that's all about the 6 oxytocin sources that can make your labor easier and faster and smoother and all of those wonderful things. And the link to that is in the show notes or in the description of the video if you're on YouTube. Remember that these episodes are both in podcast form and also on YouTube, so you can watch them as videos. If you're listening to them, you can listen to them if you're currently watching them. As always, these episodes are not intended to be medical advice. I am not your medical provider, and so they're education and entertainment. And I do them in hopes of providing education and consent-filled information so that you can have smoother pregnancy and postpartum experiences. Now, every episode I answer a question, so I would love for you to send me a question that you'd like for me to answer. The easiest way to do that is just to hop over to Instagram. My link is in the show notes, and you can send me a message there. I would also love a review, a subscription, a rating on Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts, whichever place that you normally listen to this. Or if you're on YouTube, please like and subscribe. That helps more people find this content. And so then more people can be helped by the answers that are in these episodes. All right, I will see you soon for some more placenta information.
Edited and produced by Kaely, Harrod, as I'm sure you can probably tell. And our amazing music is credited in the show notes as well. So we look forward to seeing you on the next episode. And in the meantime, have wonderful and consent-filled births.